Kakadosh Boker Or, Masechet Shevuot, Daf Yomi Daf Kav Gimel Amud Aleph 23a1. If you remember yesterday, we were speaking about the entire concept of Achila and Shtiya. And we said we wanted to bring a proof that Shtiya is called Achila. Where do we bring a proof? It says, Ve'achalta lifnei Hashem Elokecha. You're going to eat in front of Hashem Elokecha b'makom asher yivchar sheken shmo ma'asar degenecha tiroshecha v'itzarecha. Ma ze tirosh? Tirosh is wine. There's a wine company nowadays called Tirosh. So therefore, right, Tirosh chamro uchtiv, and it says ve'achalta. So the fact that it says ve'achalta achila, and we are referring to a drink which is wine. So you see from here that shtiya is considered what? Achila. So he says the dilman maybe al yedei nigron, meaning he says maybe the tirosh that we're referring to is because it's going to be mixed with a food, and that's why it's going to be considered achila. Meaning a drink in itself is a drink, it's a beverage, but when it's going to be mixed with something else, it's something different. The Amar Rabba bar Shemuel, because says Rabba bar Shemuel, anigron. What is anigron exactly? Yeah, maya de silke. Yeah. So tell them to be quiet. Yeah, maya de silke. Maze maya de silke. Maya de silke is basically a food of spinach, right? Of tered. Yeah. Beets, he says? Beets. Okay. Fine. It's a zan shel selek. Right? He says, Ach segirion is maya de kule shilke. It's going to be of different yirakot. We're talking about a different vegetables. Ela amar Ravacha bar Yaakov, but rather Ravacha bar Yaakov comes and he says, Mehacha, from here. He says, what does that mean exactly? He says, V'natata kesef bechol asher te'aveh nafshecha. You're going to come and you're going to place the money in anything that you want, which is going to be babakar, uvatzon, uvayayin, uvashechar. So now he says, 1 second, yayin v'shechar, right? It's chamrahu. Uchtiv, and it's written, ve'achalta, right? Again, we're talking about, right, achila, and we're talking about shtiya. So again, this is a proof that we call shtiya achila. So says the Gemara, huh? That's what we're saying, right? The dilma achanami, he says the same thing. Al yedei anigron. Maybe be'emet, right? Maybe be'emet. Again, it's anigron. So anigron is part of a food. That's why. Meaning, it's not talking about wine by itself, and that's it. It's talking about that you put the wine with with different things, and therefore it became a food, not a beverage. So says the Gemara, shechar ktiv, midid meshaker. He says when it says shechar, we're talking about anything which is going to be, all right, a mashke, which is going to be meshaker, which means that when you eat it, it brings to a person to shichrut. So it's going to have any type of an alcohol. So he comes and he says, because wine, which is going to be mixed with a tafshil, it's not meshaker. So therefore, when it says that it has to be meshaker, it's mashma that it's by itself. Meaning, if a person is going to come and he's going to have meat, in the meats they put different types of wine. So sometimes they put white wine, sometimes they put sweet, sometimes they put, right? Exactly. So therefore, there's no alcohol afterwards. Yeah. So therefore, he comes and he says, when it says meat the mishaker, it has to be something which is going to be mishaker, which means the alcohol by itself, the beverage by itself. So says the Gemara, V'dilman, maybe we're talking about devela ki'ilit, right? What does that mean? We're talking about dried figs. Right now, he comes and he says that it's coming from a place called Keilah. There, right, what happens is that there's not a proof that the shtiya is part of achila. The Tanya, as we learned in a braita, right? We learned over there to do with the Yisur of Kohen drinking wine. Achal devela ki'ilit v'shata dvash v'chalav v'nichnas lamigdash ve'avad chayav. Imagine a person came and he ate this dried fig cake. Right? And he drank. Now, what did he drink? He drank, whether it's going to be water, he drank miel. How do you call miel? Honey, right? And he made chalav, right? V'nichnas lamigdash. He came into the Bet HaMikdash when he was shikor. Ve'avad. And now he serves. So what happens? He's going to be chayav malkut. So you see from here that the word shechar comes to include anything which is going to be meshaker. Lav davka, it's going to be even the wine, anything which is going to be meshaker. Dvash. Also in Spanish. They're both. I know it's also in French, but it's both. Yeah, it's in both French and Spanish. Yeah, honey, miel, dvash, dvash. Also Spanish and French is the same. C'est la même chose. Miel. Yeah, ela gamar, right? But rather, right, we're going to learn, right? Shechar minazir. We're going to learn a gzera shava shechar from nazir. What does that mean? Ma lehalan, just like by the nazir, it says miyayin v'shechar yazid, right? And ma lehalan yain. So to here with maaser sheni, we're talking about yain. So therefore, yain is not mishaker unless it's going to be when you drink it be'en, and it's still called ve'achalta. Meaning we went and we made a gzera shava that just like over there it had to be by itself, so to here we're talking about by itself. And therefore it's only going to have its powers of intoxication if it's going to be by itself. Because if you would come and you would add wine to what? No, nothing. You're 100% the wine. So Amar Rava comes and he says, right, we're going to bring a proof from the beginning of the Mishnah. Af anan nami tanina. We also learned it in the Mishnah. Why? Shevuah shelo ochal ve'achal ve'shata. If a person says Shevuah that he's not going to eat, and he ate and drank, right? Eno chayav ela achat. He's only going to be chayav once. So if you're going to tell me now shtiya is bichlal achila, that shtiya is considered achila, 1 second. So therefore the Tana needed to teach you that even though you were over twice on the Shevuah, once because you ate and once because you drank, you're going to be chayav once. But if you're going to tell me that shtiya is not part of achila, so when you say Shevuah shelo ochal, and then you achal v'asam melacha, right, or anything else, do you have to tell me obviously? He says v'day shelo. So he says from here we learn from the Mishnah that if you were ate and you were shata, you're only going to be chayav v'echat. We learn from there that achila, right, is bichlal shtiya. It's all the same thing. Says the Gemara, Elmaleh Abaye, says Abaye. Yeah? Elmaleh Abaye comes and he says, Ela mai. What does it mean then? Shtiya is considered part of achila. So, Ema Seifa, let's see the Seifa. The Seifa says, Shevuah shelo ochal v'shelo eshteh. A person that's not going to make a Shevuah that he's not going to eat, and he's not going to drink. Ve'achal, right, v'shata, he eats and he drinks. So chayav shtayim, you're going to be chayav 2 chataot, one on the achila and one on the shtiya. So kevan dama shelo ochal, but he says 1 second. But the second that you come and you say shelo ochal, so you're not going to eat, it's a lebishtiyah, it becomes prohibited shtiyah. So ki amar shelo eshteh, so now when he says shelo eshteh, why is he going to be chayav? Ilu amar shelo eshteh trezimne, mi chayav tarte. If you said twice, Shevuah shelo eshteh, and then you drank, but you chayav 2 or 1? 1. So, should be 1. Chazak Baruch. So Elmaleh, so he comes and he says, Hatam de amar shelo eshteh, v'hadar amar shelo ochal. There you first said the shtiya, and then you said the achila. The shtiya bichlal achila ita. That's why, because shtiya is part of the achila. Av achila bichlal shtiya leta. But achila is not going to be part of the shtiya. So therefore, when you come and you say achila, it's not going to be added, it's not going to be part of the shtiya. But shtiya is part of achila. Okay? Meaning, what is it considered? So when you come and you want to say eat, so eating includes drinking. When you say drink, drink is not included in eating. And by the way, you see this in many different talachot. For example, let's say I go to your house. I'm a guest. Can I ask you for food? No. Shtiya. I could ask you for a drink. I cannot ask you for food. Right? Because that's the halachot of guests. I could ask you for a drink. I cannot ask you for food. Yeah, food you're not allowed to ask. Drink you're allowed to ask. Right? It's a special halacha. The same thing, right, is that drinking, right? So when I say to eat, the eat includes drink, but the drinking does not include eating. It's a special thing. Aval, says the Gemara, however, though. Amar Shivua, huh? Also the same thing. Yeah, that he went and he asked for a drink. 100%. Yeah. Yeah. So he says like this. Aval Amar. He comes and he says, Shivua shelo ochal. Yeah. He comes and he says, Shivua shelo ochal veshelo eshte ve'achal veshata mai. Now he ate and he drank what? So he says mai. Eno chayav elachat. He's only going to be chayav one. What? Shevuos shelo ochal v'shelo eshte. He's going. Then is achal v'shata. He's going to be chayav echat. Ihachi chayav echat. Tikra echat. Tikra Gemara. What? 1 minute. Ihachi. If so, adetani reisha, when the reisha says shevuos shelo ochal ve'achal v'shata eno chayav elachat. So litni shevuos shelo ochal v'shelo eshte eno chayav elachat. Ve'kol sheken keshelo achal lechudeh. So therefore he says it's a kol sheken then, right? If he's going to come and eat and drink, he's only going to be chayav one. So he says ela leolam kediktani. Really, be'emet, it's the way that we have the exact same lashon. That first he said shelo ochal, and then afterwards he said shelo eshte. Now he says 1 second, but when you say shevuot shelo ochal, shtiya is already included. So he says shane hacha. It's different over here. Kevan de amar shelo ochal vehadar amar lo eshte. Gali date de achila de amar achila greratai. Meaning like this: if I say by itself achila, zotomeret achila includes eating and drinking. When I say achila levad, but when I say achila and shtiya, I showed you that achila zaya achila lechud, zaya levad, v'shtiya levad, and that's how he answers it out. So Amar Ravashi comes and he says, Matniti nami daika. We could also deduce it from the Mishnah. Shevuah shelo ochal, ve'achal ochlin she'en ruim la'achila. Imagine a person comes and he says, he makes a shevuah that he's not going to eat. And then he eats foods which are not fitting for achila. Ve'sheta mashkin she'en ruim l'shtiya. Patur, he's going to be patur. Har re'uyim. Mashma, if he drank something which is ruim l'shtiya, he's going to be chayav. The Gemara says, why? Hashvuah shelo ochal kaman. He said Shevuah shelo ochal. So this is a proof that even though he said Shevuah shelo ochal, if he's going to drink something which is ra'ui l'shtiya, he's going to be chayav. So answers the Gemara, Dilma de Amar Tarte. Maybe be'emet he did say two things. Maybe the Mishnah was that he said Shevuah shelo ochal ve'Shevuah shelo eshteh, and that's why it said that he's going to be patur, because he ate and drank something which was not ru'im le'achila, not ru'im for shtiyah. But really, be'emet, if he would be chayav. Fine. Shevuah shelo ochal. Right? We're on the. This is like 2 dots. Yeah. Shevuah shelo ochal. Right? Ve'achal pat hitin. So imagine a person comes and he makes a shevuah that he's not going to eat, and then he ate. Right? It's different minim and vehelem echad. So he ate whether it's going to be. He ate pat chitin, pat seorin, pat kusmin. Yeah. Yeah. So he comes and he says whether he ate patchitin, who spelt barley, right? And he ate the wheat. So says the Gemara, he says maybe be'emet he was coming to permit himself that when he wanted to eat other types of foods, because if he said stam lo ochal without coming to describe what does it mean lo ochal, right? Everything would be prohibited. Right? So therefore, maybe the kavanah was only that the shevuah should be chal on each one separately. Right? So he comes and he says, so he should have said, shelo chal chitin v'seorim v'kusmin. If he wanted to prohibit everything separately, he should have said it. Shevuah shelo chal, and he should have said, chitin, seorim, kusmin. Right? The details. So says the Gemara, fine. The dilma lakos. Maybe be'emet, when he's added the word the pat and everything, it's in order that we're not talking about Lakos is when you're eating it the way that it is, without grinding it and without doing all these things. You're eating the kernels the way that they are. So says the Gemara, Daval lemeimar patchitin useorim v'kusmin. Right? So he says, V'dilma patchitin lechol and seorim kusmin lakus. Maybe the patchitin was to eat, and the barley and the spelt was lakos. So he says, Daval lemeimar patchitin, right? V'shel seorim v'shel kusmin. Meaning the fact that he said it in such a fashion, it's mashma, that it's all part of the Shevuah. Kav Gimel Mubet 23b. Yeah? V'dilma alideh tarovet. Says maybe it's through a tarovet. Meaning when it's going to be, it's not talking about mamash pat that was done through all these three things. It's a tarovet of each thing. So he says, Ema v'chen shel seorim v'chen shel kusmin. Pat lamali. So why do I need the word pat every single time? Why do I need pat chitin, pat seorim, pat kusmin? Why do I need that? Shema Mina comes to teach you lechalek, that the Shevuah is going to be on every single one individual. Meaning when a person comes and he does a Shevuah that he's not going to eat pat chitin, pat seorim, pat kusmin, each one has an avera, and he has a Shevuah on each one separately. He's not allowed to eat this, that, or the other one. Why not? So he says now, right? So you have to be lechalek. So Shevuah shelo eshteh v'shata mashke arbeh, right? Eno chayav elachat. If a person comes and he made a Shevuah that he's not going to drink, and he started drinking and drinking and drinking and drinking, he's only going to be chayav one chatat, right? So says the Gemara, Bishlama hatam. I understand over there, right, when we're talking about, right, that if a person comes and he says that he's not going to eat pat chitim, pat seorim, pat kusmin, and he forgot the Shevuah and he ate all of them together, he's going to be chayav three chataot. Marta, because you come and you say miyatre le pat lechiyuva, meaning the fact that he separated each one. He said pat, so each one is a different chiyuv, right? But this is pat seorim, pat chitin, pat kusmin. Elahacha, but here, what are you going to say? Dilma maybe lemiftar nafshem mashkin achrite kate, right? Maybe he was not mitkaven in the different mashkaot to be mechalek. He wanted to permit himself all the different mashkaot. Rav Papa says hacha b'munachim lefanav askinan. They're all in front of him, which means the three different drinks are in front of him. So in such a case, when he came and he said in his Shevuah, right, the mashkaot, he's mochiach the kavanah of the Shevuah to separate each one individually. Right? So he says, Shayalu lomar Shevuah shelo eshteh elu. Meaning he should have made a Shevuah that he's not going to drink these. Meaning if a person has in front of him a few drinks, right? Right, a little bit more, I'm going to have also water and then, this and that, yeah. So imagine right now, he's going to have a few drinks. So he should have said Shevuah that he's not going to drink these. They're right in front of him. He didn't just say Shevuah shelo eshteh. So the fact that he didn't say that, obviously is going to change it. So he says, "V'dilma maybe elu hu delo shatina achrina shetida." He says, "Okay, but he's not going to drink these, but he's going to drink something else." So he comes and he says, "Ela barador damar Shevuah delo shatina kegon elu." He says Shevuah that he's not going to drink. For example, this. The second he said, he didn't say, "I'm not going to drink these." He gave an example, but he said Shevuah is not going to drink. So he says, "Right, dilma kegon elu delo shatina." Maybe I'm not going to drink like this. Yeah, but this is only a cup. But maybe I'm going to drink less than a cup, or maybe I'm going to drink more than a cup. Maybe that's the pshat. I'm not going to drink anything of this species. So here we've got lemon juice, so it's going to be lemon juice. Huh? Yeah, exactly, a brand. 100%. A brand, exactly. Yeah? Vidilma. Yeah. Yeah. So he says Vidilma maybe, right? Min elu de lo shatina inu gufainu shetmimi. He's not going to drink this mean, but he's going to drink the actual thing. So ema shelo eshte elu minaihu. I'm not going to drink these and their species. Ravacha bered avika amar. Ravacha bered avika comes and he says, Nimsarhev bo chavero askinem. We're talking about that his friend is putting pressure on him. Tamarlo, that he told him, Bo shtei yain v'shemen udvash. Come and drink with me. So we're going to drink wine, oil, right, and honey. So he says, Dayalo lomar. He should have said, Shevuah shelo eshtei micha. I'm not going to drink with you, right? Yain v'shemen udvash lamali. So why did he have to say? Why did he have to repeat and say, I'm not going to drink with you the wine, honey, and oil? So he says, right, lechayev al kol echad v'achat. So again, it's going to be mechayev on every single one. Okay, fine. Tananatan. We learned in the Mishnah over there. Yeah, this is a Mishnah in Shevuot Pikadon. Ten li chitinu seorim v'kusmin sheyesh li biyadcha. Imagine a person comes and he tells you, listen, yeah, give me the chitin, seorin, and the kusmin that I have by you. So imagine I come and I left by you, all three. Yeah, the guy comes and he says, Shivua she'en lecha biyadi kelum. He makes a vow, I have nothing of yours. Nothing. No. I come to you. Said Ronen, give me my wheat, barley, and spelt. But yeah, but you make a Shavua. Yeah, you say Shavua, I have nothing of yours. That's what I said. That's what I said. I said I gave it to you, and you said La Adam. Doesn't exist. You have nothing of mine. So says the Gemara, Eno chayav ela achat. You're going to be chayav one vow. Why? Because you made a vow, a general vow, and you weren't specific. However, though, what happens if you say Shavua she'en lecha biyadi chitinu seorim v'kusmin? Specifics. And now I caught you. I caught you red-handed. We showed the videos and we caught you. So it says yeah? No, the first time was in the staircase. Right? The second time was the kitchen. Right? The first time was in the staircase. Yeah? With all the hush. So he says, Chayav al kol achat v'achat. Yeah, he's going to be chayav on every single one. Right? Why? Because you said, you specific. You put each one separately. V'amar Rabbi Yochanan, says Rabbi Yochanan, afilu pruta mikulam, even if he was going to be asking a shiur shaveh pruta between each one, mitzarefet. They're all going to be mitzaref lechayev korban echad. So if it comes out that even if you're going to have a pruta achat on all of them, right, meaning that I had, let's say, a half a pruta of one, a half a pruta of another, they all combine to become one pruta to be mechayev korban. Because at the end of the day, I went and I said it's each one. Who's going to be the korban? Which one? So pligi bar Ravacha Ravina. So there's going to be a machlok between Ravacha and Ravina. Chad Amar, one of them is going to say that a prateh michayev, you're going to be chayav on the prat. V'klalel no mechayev, and you're not going to be chayav on the kelal. You're going to be chayav on the prat and not on the kelal. So he says it like this: the perat, he says, is that you're going to be chayav a korban nifrad on every single min v'min, right? Which is chitim, seorim, v'kusmin. But you're not going to be chayav a fourth one on the klali, which is Shivua she'en lecha biyadi. Meaning, was here he technically said Shivua she'en lecha biyadi 1, 2, 3. So you're not going to be chayav on the klali. You're going to be chayav on the prati, on the prat, on every single one. And one of them says, no, a klali you're also going to be chayav. The fact that you said Shivua she'en lecha biyadi, so that's already one korban. Now I said chitin, seorim, v'kusmin. You're chayav also on each individual. So you're going to be chayav 4 korbanot. Okay? So it's hachamai. So the question is, when a person comes and he says, Shivua shelo ochal pat chitim, pat seorim, pat kismin, what's halacha? Do we say that it's also going to be a machloka between them? Or not? That it's going to be 4 korbanot? Or only going to be 3 korbanot? So Amar Rava comes and he says, Hachi ashta, can you compare both cases? Hatam over there in Shevuot Pikadon, michayev klala u'michayev prata. You're going to be chayav also on the klal, right? And also on the prat. Teha, right? He says, imishtaba v'hada mishtaba. Because if they came and they were tovea, and he was kafar and nishpal sheker, and then again they were tovea, right? And then nishpal sheker, mechayev tarte, he's going to be chayav too. Meaning the fact that if he was tovea different times, he would be chayav separately. Right? If I would first come and tell you, give me the chita, and you tell me no, and you swear, then afterwards I tell you, okay, fine, you know what? Give me back my wheat, my chita, the spelt, right, or the seorim, and then again you're kofer, and you're going to be chayav separately, correct? Because each one was a separate entity in itself. So hacha here, isal kadaita achita bichlala prate amay mechayev. If you're going to tell me that it's in the klal, so why are you going to be chayav on the prat? Mushba ve'omedu. You're already mushba, and the fact that you did a shavua klalit. If you came and you made a Shevuot that you don't have anything of mine, so then what does it mean now that I'm going to start telling you, give me back the wheat? Right? And then all of a sudden I'm going to tell you again, give me back the barley. But you already made a vow that you don't have anything of mine. You made a Shevuot klalit. So for obviously, you're going to be chayav, right? On separately if it's going to happen.
In this case, that's separately 6. 6 children.
Yeah. Yeah. Fine. Right. Dibur hashvua klali, right? Nigmar miyad kashava shelo ochal v'uchal miyad. Okay, fine. Next. Right, 2 dots. Shevua shelo ochal. And then he ate things which are not ru'yim la'achila v'l'shtiyah. Right? Or mashkin, which are not ru'yim la'achila v'l'shtiyah. He's going to be patur. Haguf akasha, that in itself is going to be a question. Amarta, you just told me Shevua shelo ochal. Right? A person comes and makes a Shevua that he's not going to eat. V'achal ochlin she'lo ru'yim la'achila. And he ate something which is not fitting for eating. Or he drank something which is not fitting for drinking. Patur is going to be patur. Tani. Then you told me, Shavua shelo ochal, ve'achal nevelot utuvot shekatzum masim. You're going to be chayav. The patur. Why is it that the reisha you're going to be patur, and in the seifa you're going to be chayav? So he says halakasha. He says it's not a question. He says, you know why? He says the reisha is talking about stam. He was talking about stam. He said shelo ochal, and you didn't say anything. It was exactly very generic. You just said, I'm not going to eat. Right? So you didn't. So now, since you came and you ate something which is not ruya la'achila, for sure that wasn't in your mind. Meaning, when a person comes and he says he's not going to eat, he's not mitkaven on wood. You understand? He's mitkaven on food. Yeah. The seifa b'mefaresh, and we're talking about the seifa. Well, we're talking about what? Mefaresh. What does that mean? The seifa is talking about you explicitly explained what you're talking about, because you went and you said shelo ochal nevelot utrufot and everything. So therefore, that's why you're going to be chayav in such a case. So says the Gemara, Mefaresh Nami, right? Even Mefaresh also, Gufei Tikshe. He says the Mikra Mefaresh, right, is also Mushpa, right? Why? Again, he's going to be Mushpa Me'ar Sinai. At the end of the day, when a person comes, is going to be Mefaresh. We already said that a person is not allowed to eat Nevelot Utrefot from the Torah. So you remember we already said yesterday that when a person comes and he has, right, and a person is already Mushpa Ve'omed, right? If he's going to be mushba ve'omed from our Sinai and shivua chala al shivua, so therefore, if a person comes and he makes a shivua that he's not going to come and not going to eat, how do you call this? Nevelot utrefot. It's not going to be chal. So he says, Rav Shmuel Rav Yochanan Damri. With this, we keep on mentioning this yesod hundreds of times. Bekolel dvarim amutarim im dvarim asurim. It's called an isur kolel. Isur kolel means that I'm going to be kolel, include something of heter, and the second that I include something of heter, it's also going to be chal on something of isur as well. Meaning, when I come and I'm going to tell you that it's a sur A, and then I come and I say it's a sur B, but the isur B is the exact same as A, so it doesn't add anything. So en isur chal isur, en shivua chal shivua, and it does not hold. There's nothing that grabs on. But when I come and I tell you B, and B was A plus something else. And that's how it got to B, right? So therefore, it's like the 2, right? The 2 has 1 plus 1. It's something extra. So the second that it's going to be extra, the second is going to be chal on the extra, which is mutar. It's also going to be chal on the isur as well, right? It's going to be right on the original one as well, even though technically I'm already a sur. So he says the same thing. When he came and he said that it's going to be the shivua, right, that he's not going to eat dvarim mutarim with the nivelot utrefot. If you only said the nivelot utrefot, it's not chal, because you're already mushba ve'omed from our Sinai. But if you said now a regular meat with the nevelot utrefot, so now it's going to be chal also on the nevelot utrefot because you said it. That is the first answer of Rav and Shmuel and Rabbi Yohanan. Second answer of Resh Lakish. Iyata motze ela I b'mefaresh chetzi shiur v'alibad Rabbanan or I b'stam v'alibad Rabbi Akiva. Right? It comes out that either it's going to come out by mefaresh, and we're talking about a chetzi shiur, and according to the Rabbanan, or we're talking about stam, and we're going according to Rabbi Akiva, that he says Adam oser atzmo bechol shehu. What does that mean? A person is going to come and he's going to prohibit himself even bechol shehu, right? Because basically, since he was nishba from a chetzi shiur, the shivua is chala even on machalot asurot, because when it was mushpa ve'omed, it's only on a kazait and above. So when he comes and he's going to come and do the Shevuah, it's going to be Chal because of the Kol Shu. So therefore it is going to be Gosh. So says the Gemara, Bishlema Rabbi Yochanan lo amar keresh Akish. I understand Rabbi Yochanan does not hold of Resh Akish. Temukim la lematnitin kedivrei hakol. Because it's going to put the Mishnah in accordance to everybody. Because you want to say that it's according to Chachamim, it's according to everybody. But he says, but Resh Akish, why doesn't he say like Rabbi Yochanan? Why does he have to make an ukimta that the Mishnah is going like Rabbi Akiva? Right? Why? Say it's according to everybody. So he says, Amar lecha, he's going to tell you, Ki amnina isur kolel. When do we say isur kolel? Beisur haba me'elav. Something which comes on its own, naturally. Right? It has nothing to do with Maaseh Adam. So for example, a behemah that dies before Yom Kippurim and becomes asur because lo tochlu kol nevilah. Now Yom Kippur comes. Now when Yom Kippur comes, naturally you're prohibited to eat anything. Right? So therefore, right, and it's going to be chal even on nevilot. So the Yisur Abal Yidei Atzmo, but if you're the one that's bringing the Yisur, Lo Amrina, we do not say such a Yisod.